First, from the series Made by Man, an appointment with the Jukebox Restorer.
Every rocker's dream. Your own 1959 Cadillac with chauffeur and girlfriend to a place where you can cool down your Saturday night fever. Just cool it down, mind you. Curing it wasn't possible. The jukebox is more than 100 years old. Originally, they were cumbersome machines. You put a coin in it and got an atrocious noise. Cor and Born restored their first box as a hobby. They were sold. They started dancing. Rock and roll, of course. What else? Actually, that was in the wrong order. A normal person dances first and then starts his career. They sold their first boxes to collectors of singles who couldn't play their records on modern hi-fi stereo equipment. And that's how Cor Born landed in the magical world of jukeboxes. He gets them from everywhere. From Greece, Turkey, Egypt, even Argentina and the Caribbean. This 1958 Amy 1 Continental comes from the Greek port Patras. Cor restores the boxes together with Collier Terpstra, who came to work with Cor as part of his technical training on Vickers Island in the heart of Amsterdam. Rena handles the bookkeeping, the purchasing of 45s from America, and the customers. As of now, there's a year's waiting list. The jukebox virus hit Cor nearly 10 years ago, and he's still in a bad way. The idea for a music machine, the phonograph, dates back to the last century. It was only in the 20s, though, when sound reproduction and the mechanics of coin insertion were considerably improved, that they came into vogue. The first treatment for every newly arrived jukebox. What condition is it in? What has to be done? Sometimes you need 2 or 3 boxes to restore one to its original state. This looks hopeless, but the amplifier is only dirty. Soon it'll be in fine working order again. Sometimes they find large amounts of money in the old till. The till is secret safe. Historically more gratifying are old business cards from repairmen. But mostly it's a few rusty coins and a lot of mouse droppings. Once the box is dissected down to its shell, it goes onto the street, where it's first cleaned with a high-pressure air hose and then given a good wash, with soap, would you believe? After you rinse it off, it's easy to see just what you have to do to get the box working again. One can divide the history of the jukebox into different periods. The 50s are known as the Silver Age because of all that gleaming chrome. The 40s were called the Golden Age, from the warm lights and wood used in the boxes. This is a 1948 Wurlitzer 1100. The stylized box has the very important open view of the mechanical heart. Cor has been restoring one for himself for a year now, and he polishes every single bolt. The big names in the jukebox world are Wurlitzer, Broccola, Seeberg, and Amy. That we have a top 40 or top 100 now is because of the jukebox. After all, the bar owner could choose his own record selection, and therefore the public he wanted. This ashtray or rubbish bin played a starring role along with Jane Mansfield in the film The Girl Can't Help It. And these are the wall boxes which hung above the tables in the restaurants. Remote control. The jukebox's biggest appeal is its looks. The wood or chrome, the lights, the view into the playing apparatus. That's how it was in the time of jazz and blues, later during the period of rock and bop, and now again. In the 20s, the expensive phonograph was outmaneuvered by the cheaper radio. It seemed like the end. But the Nickelodeon offered what the radio couldn't, free choice. And the radio played music that only the whites liked. The blues and jazz of the blacks were boycotted. This wasn't considered culture, but you could hear it in the so-called jukes or joints where the blacks danced on Saturday night. That's how the name jukebox came about. The once idolized white machine now stood for sex, dancing, and wild music. Suggestions were even made not to listen to this type of music anymore. After blowing out the dust from the grill, touching up and repairing the many parts, you can start reassembling the machine. Here, the recorder feed mechanism is put into working order. The electrics are replaced in their entirety. All of the old capacitors, elcos, and resistors are thrown away. Means a careful soldering job. The old tubes are tested, approved and used again. According to the experts, they produce a warmer sound than the more modern transistorized or even digital amplifiers. One of the big problems in the construction of jukeboxes has always been the sound. For this reason, Amy built in a separate speaker so that the bass would come through clearly. In vain. The public wanted the newer and cheaper radio. The Depression killed off the phonograph. Now the parts get back their gloss. Cor comes personally to check on quality. He knows how difficult it is to chrome old stuff. Not good the first time? Then do it again. If you let the light shine on it a certain way, you can immediately see whether the luster is right or whether there are bubbles on the surface. Now the grill sees its famous name replaced. Slowly, more and more of the Amy comes into view. Still, all the old boxes have the same problem. They worked on 110 volts. The wiring falls apart in your hands, and the box has to be completely rewired. The advantage of this is greater operational safety. Also, you want your customers electrified by the jukebox figuratively, not literally, remarks Cor Born casually. The final touches make the jukebox. It's not just a question of painting it a nice color. You want to re-evoke the myth. The aura is in that perfect glimmer and the seemingly simple embellishments, like this colored plastic. Because of the light behind it, the colors merge into one on the grill. And because the grill has a certain shape, it reflects all the colors during the rock and roll. Sometimes parts warp a bit in the chroming process. That's the reason for this careful fitting. Straightening the parts takes hours. It's actually funny to think that the jukebox is a direct relative of all the other slot machines, like the cigarette machine and the fruit machines or one-armed bandits. They were manufactured in order to economize on personnel, which was expensive in America. But the principle of paying first was a new one. When many boxes were found to have been used coin-free in the beginning, it was obvious that the most impregnable aspect of the box had to be the whole coin insertion system. Many people ask themselves why jukeboxes which are repaired and restored with original bolts have to be so expensive. The answer doesn't only lie in the labor costs, but the rarity. Way back, when the competition between manufacturers of jukeboxes was cutthroat, by bringing out a new type of box every year, they could keep the owner of the ice cream parlor, the barber shop, or the bar satisfied with his brand. Representatives made sure that the new jukeboxes replaced the old machines, which were then attacked with axe and sledgehammer. Only the few installed in remote regions avoided this fate. These now comprise the rare and singular jukeboxes which are found today. This is one of them. The 1946 Wurlitzer 1015, of which there were 56,000 made. In the meantime, our Amy is nearing completion. The ornaments have been fixed. The famous V sign of the Cadillac is in place. Even the jukebox's glass top has been copied from the luxury vehicle. The mechanical parts are tested in the box, but the electronic parts outside it. The amplifier, for example, is adjusted with the help of a single. And you don't hear Mozart, but Johnny Ray or Guy Mitchell. The jukebox's heart should only beat with rock and roll. The manufacturers of jukeboxes thought of virtually everything to sell their product, but the fear of the effects of erotic music continued, even after World War II. Sex was a threat in the eyes of the white middle class. As a result, bop and later rock took over the fun machines with ease. And when the heavy 78s were put on the sideline by 45s, the golden age of the jukebox really began. There were jukeboxes which could hold 200 singles, playable on both sides. The Art Deco examples were replaced by trendy units, which mirrored the new prosperity. The list of songs was ingeniously incorporated into the design. It wasn't just music for a drop of the coin. It was something good to look at. It is curious that the jukebox is a symbol of the 50s. Even those boxes made after the Second World War or in the early 60s are invariably discussed in the context of the rock era. Wurlitzer in Germany resumed production of the 1946 model, the 1015, in the early months of 1987. Its single mechanism is brand new. But this particular jukebox beats everything. An original Wurlitzer 950 from 1942. There were only 2,000 ever made. Of all the models, those dating from the war are the rarest. The shortages and the mandatory contribution to the war industry had a hand in this. Wurlitzer, for example, made anti-eye secretion parts for airplanes, and Rockola contributed munition and munition chests. The jukebox was at its most popular around 1955. In the 60s, it vanished into obscurity, unsung. But now it's back, just filled to the brim with memories, and never to be forgotten.
Dark hair, long hair, short hair, light hair, dark hair. Well, I was walking walking down the street in a force-9 gale. My hair was blowing out like a horse's tail. I went to the barber's and he gave me a jar. He said, "Better use this or you won't get far. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. To last the whole day long." I told my friend about it and he gave me a smile. Asked if he could use it for a little while. Well, it ain't the kind of thing a Jack can easily loan. Oh, better go out and get your me on. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. Yeah, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. To last the whole day long. Well, you put a little bob on the palm of your hand. Put your hands on your head and you rub them around. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. To last the whole day long. Yeah. Rub it up there. 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 Rub it on your head. Rub it up there. When I was necking with my baby in the back of the car, she said,
"Your hair's in a mess, and you're going too
well,
far."
I told her not to worry, cause I really cared. I bought a spare jar, I was well prepared. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. To last the whole day long. Well, you put a little knob on the palm of your hand. Put your hands on your head, then you rub them around. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. Just a little dabble do ya. Rub it in, rub it in. A little dabble do ya. To last the whole day long. Yeah, just a little dabble do ya. Just a little dabble do ya. Yeah, just a little dabble do ya. Just a little dabble do ya. Just a little dabble do ya. To last the whole day long. Slip out and buy yourself a jar.